Do you know who breezed through COVID, who never had any problems and don't have any of these long syndromes? What group? Smokers.
Oh, nicotine.
Yes.
Nicotine.
Smokers breeze through this. You'd think they were going to go down like a rock. Nicotine actually blocks the Wuhan protein. So nicotine is protective. So with a smoker, I would prescribe like a nicotine patch at 21 milligrams a day to detox them off the cigarettes. But in a non-smoker, giving nicotine, you worry about addiction or worry about causing nausea. So we're just using 7 milligrams a day. It's the most widely used product. You can buy it over the counter.
Lozenge?
No, patch.
Patch.
So on Amazon, you can buy a Habitrol patch for like, $10 or $20.
Yes.
And just put one on a day, and we do that for 30 days or 90 days. It's amazing how people develop, the mental clarity comes back, numbness and tingling go away. A lot of the features of the syndrome go away with the nicotine patch. People can do that on their own. So they can go to a wellness company and get the ultimate spike detox. They can do that on their own. And again, the caveats are bleeding. So I want people to understand that, if there's a bleeding disorder or risk for bleeding, this is not just a free-for-all. And nicotine patch is freely available, over the counter. And then prescription colchicine, see a doctor. We could actually start to do exactly what she's asking, is to alleviate the symptoms and begin to mitigate risks. So what have I observed in my clinical practice? It takes about 12 months. The turning point's about 9 months. Ringing in the ears, post-exertional malaise, numbness and tingling, what's called small fiber neuropathy, even some of the high amplitude tremors at about 9 months will go away. This vague chest pain that people get, probably subclinical myocarditis, called pleurodynia or atypical chest pain, pericarditis, myocarditis. Now, we use some more serious drugs when we get there. Also, the symptoms abate. Blood clots start to dissolve after about 9 to 12 months. Finally, blood clots could have been there for a couple of years, huge ones, bigger than we've ever seen before. And I think the most interesting thing is we've tackled some of the most difficult syndromes, which are the severe neurologic syndromes. Now, they are Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is a paralytic syndrome that can involve even rectal sphincter tone, even involve respiration, and then transverse myelitis, which is actually like a severing of the spinal cord. And there, we've carefully observed patients improving. Of course, we need to do the best we can to try to write all this up. And the headwinds on publications, anytime we have a breakthrough, it is so difficult to publish. It could take 2 years to publish a miraculous case like this because of the suppression. There is a complete suppression on anything that can offer people hope, which is the most interesting thing. So you think, listen, people took it in the arm. The bad guys got what they wanted. People took it. Now we're just trying to dig ourselves out of this. Why can't we publish something that's hopeful? Even that is suppressed. We're seeing this all over, treatment of these injuries. My estimate is we're at about 4,000 papers describing the injuries, disabilities, and deaths after taking it and potential solutions. My estimate is only 1% of the papers are getting in. I think there's 400,000 papers. I know, because I have some of them. They just cannot get published that are out there because the information is being blocked to the world.
Which makes me wonder what else is on the horizon. And even, is that a healthy path for me to take? I think no, I don't think it's good for us to live in fear. But yet, even if there is more practices for the WHO or Bill Gates, I think Bill Gates recently last year was like, well, there's another one coming.
How does he know?
That. Right, exactly, right? So how do you know? And if you do know, are you giving us all a premonition of what's to come? But yet, that to me is a dead end cul-de-sac, because that just promotes more fear. I think what's more advantageous and more empowering is actually taking care of our physical body, learning how to cook food, learning how to move, learning how to breathe properly, learning how to be a human that God designed, that our Creator designed for us to be, which is so powerful. And I love that basically it's plants and soil that are in this detox bundle. It's so wonderful. It's like coming from the earth, which we live with and we live on.
Well, let's talk about diet for a second. There was a paper from Poland, and I can't recall the first author. I don't think I could pronounce her name, but it was a very good diet. Those with healthier diets had less infection. They had less risk of getting the infection, and had milder courses. Okay. Thinner people did better than heavier people, for sure.
But can't you say the same for surgeries and all medical conditions?
For sure. And then this is very interesting. Every single study showed that eating sugar and starch worsened things, even during the acute infection. It got to the point where we tell people, listen, you're sick with the virus. Don't go out and eat a Cinnabon. And you actually will medically get worse.
Did you tell them to eat low carb or more carnivore?
We said protein? High quality sources of protein, fresh fruits and vegetables. This was very important. So so that literature congealed. There was an entire literature that supported our sense that immune boosting or nutraceuticals and supplements could play a real role. And as a medical doctor, a prescribing doctor, I was always a little bit skeptical, right? But there are sources of data for sure showing that zinc played a role, that it was an RNA-dependent polymerase inhibitor, and that it needed an ionophore to bring it in, like HCQ, but zinc played a role. There was somewhat supportive data for vitamin C, but boy, it better be high dose, not a trickle.
50,000, 60,000?
Yeah, it's got to be way up there. 3,000, if you're going to take oral, like 3,000 liposomal 4 or 5 times a day. You really got to crank it up there. You got to, tens of grams of vitamin C. The most interesting of all these was vitamin D. Oh my Lord. Every single study on vitamin D was positive. We learned vitamin D was preventive. So those on vitamin D had lesser frequency of the illness and it was less severe. It could actually be acutely therapeutic, which was very interesting. There's been papers written on this, but the doses had to be higher. So where I am right now is just for general health prevention. I'm at 10,000 units of vitamin D a day, way higher than olden days. In acute treatment in McCullough protocol, it was 20,000 a day. And someone said, listen, it probably ought to be 50,000 a day for a period of time. And treatment protocols that I've written, 5 days on the short end, 30 days on the long end. And you get 30 days at 20,000 units of vitamin D, probably no risk of kidney stones or other problems. But if you do it forever and ever, maybe there's a problem. Quercetin, which is a polyphenol supplement, supportive data there. It was so interesting. And we could go on and on. There are data for spirulina as an example, which is a blue-green algae, a natural herb worm root, artemisian, which actually is similar to an IVM type of approach. Doctors in Asia weren't using IVM, they were using artemisian. So as I talked to more and more doctors around the world, I realized no single drug was necessary nor sufficient. And there were many ways to help people get the illness, many ways to help people get through this recovery phase. But the principle was get rid of this spike protein or block it the best you can until the body can get rid of it. And what I've likened this to is when you get the infection or take it in the arm, it's similar to getting Lyme, where the Borrelia burgdorferi organism, it just doesn't get out of the body. You just can't get rid of it. That's the reason why some people have a post-Lyme syndrome. It's similar to syphilis. Once the syphilis, the spirochete gets in the body can't get rid of it. That's the reason why there's neurologic and aortopathy and other manifestations of syphilis. There are some bugs that get in the body we have a hard time getting rid of. This Wuhan bug is one of them. And that's the reason why we need detoxification. We need to be patient with it because it takes a long time. With the Ultimate Spike Detox for Wellness Company offers, and you'll find lots of similar on the internet, and it's all, because it works, is take it on an empty stomach. Now, people say, well, how can you say it worked? People say, well, you're pushing these things. Well, listen, they're widely available, very affordable, no matter where you want to get them. And if I was wrong on this, we've been at this now for 2 years. The internet would be loaded with, this doesn't work. Dr. McCullough, you're wrong. I did this forever and ever, and I'm just as bad. My blood clot never went away. I would have been nailed with a litany. You know how people are on social media.
Sure.
And in my clinic. But you go on social media and you type this in, thank God I'm better. It took months, but I'm better. The numbness and tingling is gone. Thank God the blood clot's finally gone. Thank God I'm walking again. And it's just, yes, It is nothing but a sea of compliments. And in the absence of a large randomized trial and $500 million, I have no other way as a scientist to evaluate this outside of empiricism and then carefully listen to responses.
It's inspiring because there is hope. So many people are like, how do I even get rid of this? And they just don't know what they don't know. It's unconscious incompetence. So they're just not aware. Thank you for bringing hope. If you like that clip, click the one that's on the screen now, and I promise you, you'll enjoy it just the same, if not more.